paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. It is time to get into the Streets of New Capenna. Jason, I know you've been looking forward to this one because it's been a long time since the last set release.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's been years.
It's been years
Months
since we
even.
actually did a set review because DJ doesn't let us do set reviews anymore. I don't know why he's in charge. He just drags his feet so much. Because you know what? Because I already have a 3-year-old. And
Set
after
reviews
fighting him all
are-
day to get him to like try to use the potty and not throw his blocks, I get on this podcast and I don't want to deal with another 3-year-old. So
No,
we just
it's
don't do
funny.
a set review.
You
So-
say
Well, like
what you
I've
say-
heard that having kids puts you in like a time capsule almost of understanding like the world outside of having kids. So it does make sense that you would think set reviews are still relevant since you're living in the world pre-Liliana, right?
Yes, DJ. The only way to make money in MTG Finance is have people sell you collections for too cheap and put them on TCG Player. And that's the podcast. Hey, everybody, open a TCG Player store. Good night. We did it. We did everything you need to know about finance.
I mean, like cassette reviews.
Just change how
were
you're
very
buying
useful.
and selling
Okay,
and
so-
collecting and structuring your free time and what your job is.
What I'm
You
hearing
change all
then,
that.
what
You
I'm
don't need a
hearing then is
podcast.
that we need our listeners to weigh in because we are going to talk about New Capenna tonight, and we're going to talk about what we like and don't like. We're not going to do a full-blown set review because we've got some other cool stuff we want to get to.
I do miss
as well.
grading. I do miss changing our evaluation system each set.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That
Like
was a good
one time we
meme.
went from A to F, and then the other time we went from like 1 to 5, and then the other
By
time
we,
we went
you
from
mean you weren't
we went
there
from
for
5 to
that?
1. It was a different numerical
Yep.
system.
1
where
to
lower
10.
was better, and
Yep.
then lower was
I
worse.
need a beer. This is the worst.
I love
But
it.
yeah, like by announcing which cards people should buy when the set came out on Arena 6 weeks ago. Once the set finally comes out of paper.
Well, this is useful to say they've actually changed that because
They did
Yeah,
change
yeah,
that
yeah.
recently.
Because that was, if you think about it, and I don't know if this is a thing in the corporate world, I've heard people talk about the business development cycle of something and how that is 3 years or something when it's something, or the release cycle or whatever is like 3 years. So here we are 3 years out from Arena. We're going back to paper events. They've realigned the schedule so that you don't get to play 2 weeks on Arena before you ever see a card in paper, which was leading to a ton of disconnect when stuff's coming out every other week. And you know, we've got people investing back into Magic Online. So it's interesting to see the way that has gone. So let us know, listeners, what you prefer for a set review. We're going to talk about what we like and don't like because there is plenty to go around and hear New Capenna. But first, Jason, I heard you crack that beer. Who does that beer come courtesy of?
If you go to patreon.com/BSB and give us $1 a month, you can have access to our Discord, where this user is going by the name John Smith 88. But he didn't want me to talk about that. He wanted me to talk about Bubbling Muck on TCG Player and MKM. I'm really surprised. He's the first person that had me plug his store.
Bubbling
in
Muck,
exchange
let's
for
go.
a beer, but yeah, Bubbly. He sent a business card. That's cool. He sent a beer for Corbin, which I'm not going to send to him.
Oh, come
I
on,
will drink
bro.
that.
Come on.
Uh,
Come on.
well,
Oh, Bubbling Muck is also a Magic card. It's from Urza's,
It is a Magic
Flask. Urza's Flask set, yeah.
Yep. So if you're looking for Magic the Gathering cards, Bubbling Muck is a store. You can buy them there. I'm not saying to do that. I'm just saying you can because we're spreading awareness.
Jason,
I'm not
what is
advocating.
the beer I'm not getting? That's what is the beer I'm not getting?
This is called Allagash White. Is a Belgian style wheat beer
bro,
with
I actually love
coriander
that
and
beer.
orange peel.
I love that beer. I'm coming up to Michigan. Or when
Oh,
Jason's
you
coming
get
into-
Allagash White. This is exactly like Bell's Oberon. And since Bell's sold out to the man, maybe I'll have to find
Bell
another.
Oberon? Like, how many legendary creature names can they make?
I know, right? That one's halfway
There's a
between
Titania, but there's no Oberon. seems
No,
like
it's Belzoberon. It's just one word, right?
The
Why
porn
are you
star?
doing this?
It's like Belzoberon the lightning storm or whatever. I don't know. Like, just that's how they pick legendary creature names now.
It's probably not that far off, frankly.
They reach into a Scrabble bag. They pull out a
Mm-hmm.
handful.
And if you are a Scrabble player yourself and you ever want to compete, you should know that there are both national and international Scrabble competitions, and they are broadcast on Twitch by yours truly occasionally.
Were.
Well, I did it one time. It was fun. I'd do it again.
I did post that Scrabble joke on Twitter, and then somebody who is part of a creative team on Wizards who makes names for legendary creatures replied with an affirmative emoji. So that is canon now. That's how they
Canon, he
decide
says.
legendary
Yep.
creature. From the team that brought you Lathril, Cathril, and Lathrale.
Welcome to MTG, where things aren't true, they're canon.
Sure thing. All right, well, let's move on then. Let's get into everyone's favorite segment that I win every week. It's Breaking Bulk.
Breaking Bolt time. Breaking Bolt time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
Dun dun dun, cue the
Corbin
music.
winning every week is not canon for this podcast lore, by the way.
Canon.
Check the BSB wiki. It's not canon.
BSB wiki, let's go.
All right, I have two. One of them is a bullshit
you
one
do.
that doesn't really count.
Neat. Let's
What
go
I-
with that one first, and why don't you just say it?
It's a Betrayers of Kamigawa black card, and it's it's a common. So it's a Betrayers of Kamigawa black common, and it is specifically the foil. The non-foil is worth garbage. The foil is worth like $12 or $13.
Okiba Gang Shinobi.
No, it's not a ninja.
What's that?
Betrayers.
Betrayers.
It is from Betrayers. It's a black common. It's not a ninja. It's not even a creature, but
it's not a demon. There's Rend Spirit. There's
Nope. The non-foil is worthless. The foil's like $12 or $13.
I'm trying to think it
so
through.
it's a
gotta be
pauper card.
yeah.
Does it a land destruction thing?
Nope.
Betrayers.
I don't actually know if this is a pauper like card.
Psychic
that is...
Spear. Is it a discard card?
No, I don't actually know if he's playing pauper. I think
don't know what
I know
it
why
is.
it's worth money, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right, what's the card?
It is Blessing of Leeches, and my
That's
hypothesis.
uncommon.
It's not.
Oh my god, Blessing of Leeches is. Ooh.
I'm literally looking at the card.
I know, but like this is one of those
Never heard of
things where like it's contradicting a fundamental thing that oh my god, Blessing of Leeches is common. I realized that it was like 20 years ago that this set came out, but I'm still a little bit
Okay,
surprised
listen,
by
it's
this.
a 3-mana enchant creature. You can play it anytime. You can play an instant.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life. You can pay 0 to regenerate the creature. It's not quite worthless for what it's 50 cents as a non-foil, but yeah, the foil is very expensive.
My prediction is that it's just because the art. It is drawn by Rebecca Guay. She is a very famous Magic artist,
Does look pretty
and
cool.
it is the only printing of the card that has a foil. So like I presume that is why it is worth money, is because there are some collectors out there that actively seek out her artwork.
You know what? I don't even hate that one, DJ. I think that was a perfectly reasonable Breaking Bulk. That's an
My
expensive
backup
foil.
one is a World Wake land that is a rare. So it's pretty easy to guess. This one's pretty easy. It's a
World
softball.
World Wake. What's
There's 5 creature lands plus 1 Eldrazi plant land. Is that true? I'm trying to remember.
No, the
Ayavuga is
Eldrazi
a World
plant
Wake,
land's
which-
like
Ayavuga is
uncommon.
not a breaking bulk.
I'm just trying to walk Jason through the set here.
Yeah, there was the 5 creature lands, and then
And what was the rarity of this card, though, DJ? I'm sorry.
Rare.
Oh, rare. Okay.
it's not a mana filter thing, is it? No.
World Wake.
I don't know, man. I could not tell you.
Corbin?
I don't know.
Lava Claw Reaches.
Okay, it was just one of those.
I mean, like it's
Okay,
been
that's fine.
consistently $1.50
My
or
breaking
so.
bulk was a masterpiece.
It did.
I got an expedition breaking bulk. Come on, man.
I understand where you're coming from here, DJ.
Christ's
It
sake.
did have a borderless full art version, but this is a card that
Like
I
all
found
true
in bulk
bulk.
rares
Listen,
from
no,
collections.
listen.
multiple
This
times.
card was this is not terrible. DJ's right. This card, for years after it was printed in Ultimate Masters, was like a 50-cent rare. It was certainly in bulk piles for sure, and now it's $1.50. That's reasonable. I'm with you. I don't know that it was particularly like guessable in the context of not just naming all the creature lands, but I'm with you on it being a perfectly
I think the 5
acceptable
creature
breaking
lands in
ball.
Ayamugan are the only rare lands in that set. So like,
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but we were trying to figure that
credit.
out.
I got credit then. Partial credit, I'll take it.
Because you said 6 lands and it was among the 6 lands that you said. Is that how you determine?
if he had said Lava Claw reaches, I would have said yes.
And I would have been angrier earlier. I got a card with 3 printings, and only one of them's a real set.
Okay.
One of them's a commander deck, and one of them's a commander deck, but very
Anthology.
specific to a set. It's not an anthology.
Oh,
So
it's
it's
like
2
Commander
commander,
Call Time
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, AFR, but that's a lot of information. This is a green M19 uncommon.
Garruk's Uprising? Was that 19? Okay, so real
That's
talk.
$5.
M19, M20, and M21 are all the same set.
Yeah,
Yes,
kind
they
of
are,
agree.
and all
I
the
kind of
cards are the
agree.
same. But this isn't the version of Garruk's Uprising that's $5. It's the one that's $1. It's Colossal Majesty, baby. The beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Piece of cake.
What set was that in originally, you said?
M19? No,
Interesting.
Core Set 2019.
Yes, good point.
There's an M and a 19 on it, so I say M19.
I categorize that set as M19. Specifically, I put it in my like physical inventory as 2019 core set. So if you've ever been to TCG Player, which most of you probably haven't, they and most other stores' organizational systems are based on the verbatim wording of the set that Wizards prints. So like, core set 2019 is in a completely separate spot than like most of the other core sets, because like it's 2012 Magic core set, 2013 Magic core set. Those ones are numbered. The start of the first letter of their thing is a number.
Yeah.
So, then they go into core set 2019, which is in the C's. 6th edition is under classic 6th edition. 7th edition is not under classic 7th edition. It's just 7th edition.
Yeah.
So my inventory is based on a logical system where it's based on the core sets are all numbers. And then you filter it by what it would look like on a spreadsheet. So like 10th edition is first because that's 1, and then it's 2010, 2011 through 2019, 2020, etc.
Yeah, that doesn't sound crazy.
Yeah. And I think that the thing is, we're already so deep into them making a million versions of anything. Like we've had people on the podcast talk about in the past. Everything's just got to be simplified. Card's good.
The dark is under
and,
T.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. If you've buy listed a lot of cards, you know this, and you know that some of these, occasionally there's differences in how websites will order their core sets. And it can be a little annoying. It can be rough. All right. Well, for you guys then, want to make sure I get this right here. This card is from Ikoria, Lair of
The
Behemoths.
suspense is killing me.
It's from Ikoria. Partial credit, baby. I get
It's
partial credit.
It's a gold uncommon.
Is it one of those? Is it from a cycle?
Is it the black-green human draft uncommon? Or not black white. The black-white, because black-white was the human draft archetype.
No. It is not a black-white card.
Are you sure? Can you check? Can you hold it up for the camera and verify that it's not?
I am quite confident that it is not a black-white card.
A gold uncommon. Is it the mill? There's like a mana dork that mills cards.
Hey, there you go, Jason. That is it. It's Skull Prophet.
Okay.
I actually thought you had it, DJ. It's a black-green human early drop. It's 2 mana, tap to add a black or green, or tap to put the top 2 cards from your library
Skull
into
what?
your graveyard. So Skull Prophet. Pull them out.
You know all that Ikoria bulk you have.
I have never seen this card before in my life.
I've never seen Ikoria bulk in my life.
This is... I don't know if this can't... Wait.
What?
What's our threshold? What's our min threshold for breaking bulk?
I don't know, man. It was right there with...
What is this, like, buy listing for a nickel? Which is 10 times the
DJ
bulk rate!
DJ calling rules. What do you think this card buy lists at, DJ? On Card Kingdom.
12 cents.
I mean, I was just looking at my own TCG Direct backend and what I would list it for, which is like 50 cents, so...
It's buy listing at 18 cents.
That's
Pretty real.
scraping across the finish line.
Pretty real.
That's pretty real, man. Look, if 18 cents on a buy list doesn't get you excited in the segment breaking bulk, I don't know. As DJ comes up with Lava Claw reaches.
I went back and found a buy list order I submitted in 2014, and it made me want to throw up.
What do you think Lava Claw reaches is buy listing at?
Probably a quarter.
12 cents.
Really? I'll pay quarters on them most of the time.
Wow.
Less than my
paying
breaking
double
bulk.
the buy list rate. It's
Less than
DJ's
Skull Profit, by the way.
I would not pay quarters in Skull Profit, but I would probably pay quarters on Lava Car Reaches if I was out of stock.
So, and that, everybody, tells you why it pays to shop around in the sense of it, because different vendors need different things. There you go. Another week, another W for Corbin. And now let's move on to the mean streets of New Capenna.
We need a counter. We need a scoreboard.
All we need is a soundboard of DJ going, I've never seen this card, and then it buy listing for more than DJ's breaking bulk. That's all we need. Scoreboard
Based
that
on
one forever.
one single store.
Yeah.
Is what you're...
Yeah. Look, I'm just gonna ride this forever. Nothing you say will convince me otherwise. My own head canon will exist.
True Oklahoman, buddy.
Mm-hmm. I'll take feelings over facts any day.
Did you just say your own head canon, meaning what's canon in your head? You think that's what head canon means?
It's like solid steel, baby. It's a trap.
We don't have beliefs. We have head cannons. Why are you both like this?
Well, we are entering New Capenna, y'all, and look, this may actually have been the longest break. It's been all of like 2 months or something since Kamigawa came out. And we've got a lot to dig into. There are 5 guilds or tribes, whatever you want to call them, gangs. What are they? What's the lore?
La Familia.
Well, sure. So we've got lots of cycles, ascendancies, charms, lots of things like that you would expect. And
19 legendary creatures plus the commander decks.
Like, building a 3-color magic set must be like so much easier now than it used to be, because you just have a template. It's like, okay, we have 5 charms, we have 5 commands, we have 5 of the dual land, we have 5 of the mana tri-land, whatever. We have 5 mana rocks.
They went back, and even in some of the cards that aren't necessarily hard cycles, they kind of went back to. It reminds me of Shards of Alara, where there were the 3-color. One of each pip creatures that had different abilities that really showed off the mechanics of that shard.
Oh, yeah, the Mantis Rider cycle, yeah.
And now they're legendary.
Yeah, well, some of them are. But yeah, so you're right. Yeah, there's a lot for them to work with in the main set. That said, it seems pretty cool. Now, I don't know if I'm ever going to forgive them for naming these 5 tri-lands off of specific places in New Capenna.
My goodness, what a punt. Maybe they'll get like the Godzilla treatment later, but like these were always...
Well, look, this is even worse than... Look, the original triomes were named after Ikoria.
Which sucks too. That
yeah,
sucks
but
too.
at least
I still don't know
they
what
said
those ones are.
At least, I actually think I do now, but at least they said triome.
Just say
so you could call them
Grixis Triome. Just Just say Grix.
Just say
stop
Grixis land.
Stop
Just go
making me
full-
learn so much shit. I don't want to learn so much shit, man. Learning Grixis was dumb enough as it was, right?
Well, and look, if these were called things like Obscura Triome, Maestros Triome, Riveteers Triome, Cabaretti Triome, and Broker's Triome. By the way, if you knew what all of those were, good for you. I certainly didn't, and I'm
Brokers
looking at the cards.
is banned.
Yeah, it's the only one I think I would know offhand.
Obscura makes
But
the most.
they're not even called
sound,
Triomes.
Obscura sounds the most Esper.
True.
Because
Obscura sounds like they had
True.
15 minutes before the printers closed and they needed one more guild name.
That's why it's one of the best ones.
Come on,
simple.
they shroud everything in mystery. Call them like something that sounds like Obscura, but not as dumb.
Well, how about this one? Rafine's Tower, Xander's Lounge, Zeatora's Proving Ground, Jetmir's Garden, and Spara's Headquarters. Those are your new 5 triomes that are going to be in every constructed Magic format. Learn those.
Do not enjoy any of that. But what would make me happy? I don't know. I don't know what would make me happy. I didn't like how they did it before, and then they changed it, and I don't like it now either. So like, they're not trying to please me.
Maybe the
You know what
universe,
would
then it'll
please
be
me?
enough.
Another guessing game.
Okay.
Let's name this guessing game. What do you think was the most built of the 19 legendary creatures over the last 7 days?
Xander.
I need to find a list of legendary creatures first, without going to EDH Rick, which will spoil the answer.
Corbin thinks Xander's number 1.
Xander's been out for a couple weeks.
Mhm.
It's a Grixis one.
It's Grixis. It's
Mhm,
brutal.
cool stuff. Yeah.
When they discard half their hand, and when it attacks, they mill half their library. This card is screwed up, and it's going to cause people to build basically Corbin's Nicol Bolas deck.
And when
that commander is not that oppressive.
And when it dies, they sacrifice. Target opponent sacrifices half the non-land permanents they control. It costs 7 mana, and I think 7
And it also
mana
only
20
wrecks one person at a time. It's not each opponent.
Yep. It's going to make... Yeah, but that one person's going to...
That one person's gonna hate you. Yeah, it's honestly, it's look. that's just
Discarding
my
half
gut.
your hand is like 2 or 3 cards max. It's a mind drop.
That's going to feel like violence to somebody.
And that's their problem, not the card design. Like
What
milling
if
half
I
your
told
deck
you-
is a buff. If most commander decks would like to have half their deck milled.
I do tend to agree with DJ on the points he's making.
So
but I
that
do
the
stand by
sacrificing half the
Xander
non-land
being
permanents is
popular.
the only like scary one, really.
Xander is in fact popular in my based on social media. So that was my
Xander
guess.
is in fact built half as much as Puppy and Kitties.
Oh, that makes
Jetmir
sense.
Nexus of Revels. I almost said Rebels. That would be cool too. You could be like, "Welcome to the Nexus of Rebels." I'd be like, "I thought it was Rebels." He's like, "No, it's what I call our secret base for fighting against the brokers."
So
See,
what is
this
the
card?
Is it
I
the
think is way more
brokers or
powerful than Lord
brokers?
Xander.
Why is there no apostrophe on brokers ascendancy? It's driving me nuts.
I agree with that. So what does the card do, Jason? What is it?
Oh, who cares, man?
This card is way more powerful than Lord Xander, and I don't think people realize that. This card is Craterhoof in your command zone for 4 mana.
It's Beastmaster Ascension on a stick. Creatures get 1-0 and have vigilance if you have 3 creatures. They get 1-0 and trample if you have 6 creatures, and they have 1-0 and double strike if you have 9 creatures. Cat Demon, insane, just complete insanity. And then you get Are You Ginny Faye Who Wants to Know? That also makes creatures, makes cat and dog tokens. So Jetmir seems kind of like I don't know, it's obvious, it's dumb, it's Naya. Games are going to end quick. I like it better than like the Bant one that's like, if you wanted the game to take longer, it takes longer. Although I do like the one from the Bant one from the Commander deck that goads, because that's not a Bant thing, and I love when we break the color pie because it makes people upset.
Well, goading's just a fun ability in general too.
Yeah, but people should goad more. Commanders that like fog and make them not attack and wrath, and that make the game take forever suck. Commanders that goad are great. You have to beat the out of each other. You're making the game go faster. The game should go
I
faster.
do like my Fantas deck.
Yeah. That's a trend I think.
What is
that
it,
they've been
2018?
pushing, and it's been good. What
Yeah.
when yeah. So looking back at New Capenna, we mentioned the Manus Rider cycle earlier. We also have what is like a new Lightning Angel, Fleetfoot Dancer. It's Naya colors. It's 4 mana. It's a 4/4 trample lifelink haste. That's pretty buff. I think that has playability in Pioneer for sure.
Everything's pushed in this set. They have a 2 mana, a 3 mana 3/3 with that makes a treasure token and has a keyword ability. Like stuff's pushed.
It's sort of
I remember
the normal...
paying 4 mana for a 3/3 creature unlimited with no abilities.
Yeah, well, this is sort of every time they do a tricolor set, it allows them to push power level. And this is, we saw that, say, cons compared to the sets that came before it. The power level of Magic looks like it has been the last few years. This is what a tricolor set looks like. These cards are good.
So real briefly, right now, preliminarily, and I think it's because they've been out the longest, but the cycle of Triomes and like Charms and Ascendancies are doing real well in EDH Rec. The only stuff that's like breaking that pattern is Professional Facebreaker is getting played quite a bit. Professional Facebreaker is just another Grim Hireling for a certain store to not send me any of my orders up and then raise the price. So if you made any money on Grim Hireling, you're not going to make any money on Professional Facebreaker. It's already pre-selling for $5. But it's played a lot. Professional Facebreaker is a cool name. I will be happy to say that like I have been. I've said it more times than necessary on the cast. I haven't started talking about a different card. I don't need to keep calling it Professional Facebreaker. But again, its name is Professional Facebreaker. Bootlegger's Stash, I think, is not as good as anybody thinks. I can't believe it's pre-selling for $50 on some sites.
It's really silly.
Yeah.
That's a bad card.
I don't think it's bad, but it's very slow. It is slower than people think it is.
So Zayatora's Envoy is getting some play, and I think people will continue to play Voidrend, because Voidrend's just an uncounterable unmake, although it is in really annoying colors. So Halo Fountain is getting some play, and Gala Greeters. So those are the cards that are, I think, performing up there with like the boilerplate stuff in the set, which is your Triomes, your Ascendancies, your Charms, all the stuff that like people are like, oh, there's a charm, it's in my color, I got to put it in my deck on whatever website.
I think 6 months out, the 2 mana Angel Lord will be the most popular card in the entire set.
What 2 mana Angel Lord?
Yeah,
it's 2 mana, 2/2 Flying Vigilance, and it just does angel things, and it's a mana dork too. It just does all the things you could ever possibly want from a casual angel.
Oh, the legendary creature, Giada, Font of Hope.
Yeah, that's a 4 of in like every single 60 card casual deck that also curves out into Avacyn. Like that card is going to fly off. That card's insane. That is the most popular. That card is just $signs all over.
Can we have our listeners vote on something? I need lots of opinions on this. Is the pommel on Luxior Giada's Gift, is that bent? Is it like a fencing foil or something like that? Or is it just drawn weird?
I don't even know what cards you're referring to.
I don't know.
The sword, the legendary equipment. The reason that everybody bought out
the Devoted Druid card.
Devoted Druid, and then Druid was in the pre-con, so
Is the hilt of the sword bent?
Yeah. Like the tang looks bent.
I think it's just trick of your eye. I don't think it is.
Is it the way the hand is drawn? It looks bent to everybody. So go on Twitter and say it's bent and tag Brainstorm Brewery. Unless you don't think it's bent, then say it's not bent and tag Brainstorm Brewery.
I have no opinion. How about that?
Well, you should have an opinion. It looks off to me. I've been staring at it the whole time we've been casting tonight. If I've been quiet, it's because I'm like, is that bent?
Yep, exactly.
Also, so I would like to clarify, when I say like the Angel is one of the best cards in the set financially, I do not mean to buy it and then sell it later. I mean like volume wise, if you're trading cards, it is going to be a card that will be on like stores hot list. It'll be a card that you sell to other vendors at GPs who are paying like 90% of retail on the card, because then they can go and sell it on other marketplaces for higher than retail. So like it's just going to be a churn effective card where you can buy it with confidence knowing that it'll move, not necessarily a spec target. Like it could go up over a very long period of time, but we're talking like multiple years in terms of like slow growth into like, oh wait, when did this become $15? So I do not suggest like putting a bunch of money into them at 5 or 10 or whatever a piece.
It's even higher than it's very high right now.
Like I'm not suggesting buying it and then waiting. I'm just saying it's going to be a very effective high volume card. That is what I mean when I say it will be good financially. There's a difference.
I mean I will add that this is a card that when we always talk about, you know, sometimes it can, for instance, if we were doing a set review, this is a card we would say, we love this card, buy them in 6 months. And
yes.
Yeah, so I mean, there you go, right? So this is a card that I don't know how cheap it's going to get because it's coming out of the gates very expensive. It's 15 pre-order.
But it's not a mythic. That's the big thing. It's not a mythic.
Right. So I mean, it's going to come down. That I can't even begin to process like and sort of nail a price for this in terms of, because it has competitive implications. Angels is a deck, and this is an absurd card for that deck. And then it's got everything going for it that DJ mentioned. So I'm just going to keep an eye on this one. And when it bottoms out, I want in. I just don't know when or where that will be. But one of those to keep an eye on for sure out of the set. What about an offer you can't refuse? The new Swan Song?
I just hate all these card names.
This one's terrible, but yeah, I'm with you.
This isn't the same name. Like if we had a tier list, like this joins Pop Quiz in F tier.
At least Pop Quiz sort of like made sense in the context of, okay, well, this is the set's thing. Like this is the whole thing of the world. So sure. Whatever.
They're really doubling down on the whole Italians are the only people you can make fun of anymore concept. It's really wild.
If this was in the D&D set, for instance, an offer you can't refuse, sure, I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how this is in. I don't get it. Nothing else in the set's named like. Not most of the rest of the set isn't quite it. I don't know.
There is a card called Sleep with the Fishes, Corbin.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a card called Cement Shoes, bud.
It's just
wait, is there?
Whatever, but I don't like. Sure, I get that sub for commons and uncommons for draft purposes. Whatever, go for the flavor. But an offer you can't refuse is going to be an EDH staple, and it's
which is too bad because everyone's gonna do a bad Godfather voice when they counter your.
You think this card's an EDH staple?
It's well.
I think decks get a very limited number of one-mana counterspell slots, and I'm not seeing anybody cutting Swan Song for that.
I think a lot of people will run this in addition to their Swan Song.
This is $1, and Swan Song is more than $1. Did you know that the unofficial name for EDH was I have in my basement? That's the format. People are going to play an offer you can't refuse because playing a free offer you can't refuse that you got in your draft pool is better than paying whatever Swan Song costs these days.
Swan Songs is expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It is. And this card, generally cards that make your opponent mana positive have not been particularly popular in the format, even if they are cards you find in your binder.
I have never paid the 2/1 Smothering Tithe. That is my response to that. I'm not giving somebody a 2/2 that they can block my Thieving Skydiver with when I can just give them useless treasure tokens. Because when they have so many treasure tokens that they can't do anything with them anymore, it doesn't matter. If you just give somebody all the treasure they need, every card that says you give your opponent treasure isn't bad anymore.
Your deck isn't Reckless Fireweaver.
I'd like to think that the turn I'm casting an offer you can't refuse is the turn I'm going to win.
What if you're playing Viridian Realm?
That's because that's the kind of because you have a zombie deck. That's why.
I understand.
Yeah, that turn is turn 3.
But how often does but it's also pretty common for control decks to protect like their Tormented Hellfires with a Swan Song sort of thing. Like I just think the cards are going to get played. Swan Song's $15. People are going to play this over $15 Swan Song.
But there's like other one-mana... There's like Stubborn Denials and like just...
I guess we can put it on the board. Check Siri, remind me in a year. See how much an offer you can't refuse is played in on EDH Rec. It's an interesting card for sure. But while we're on the topic of treasures, though, I mean, how do you all feel about this? All treasures all the time, every card, every set, every mechanic.
We're just a little bit tired of it.
I don't think they're going to do it as much after this set, but I think it's too late.
I kind of think that too.
Too late for what?
Too
People
late
are
to not
burned
make
out on it
people
almost.
upset.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like we get that Wizards goes through sort of phases with trends and design and effects and exploring effects, and that's great. But they're going really, really hard on treasures right now. It breaks the color pie. It just feels like every set is treasures.
How many? Hang on, let's check
I don't
Scryfall.
know.
How many cards in Streets of New Capenna make or deal with treasures? I looked for rules text treasure in Streets of New Capenna, and it says there's only 26 cards that deal with treasure.
That's a lot, man.
Is it?
Think so?
It's
A lot of them are
trend.
like limited commons, like active treason with treasure.
I guess you put DJ in the camp of not being that upset about it.
He doesn't. DJ hasn't played EDH in 2 years. I'm not really worried what he thinks.
I was gonna say we're also at this point though we do branch into sort of the EDH side of the set as well with the commander deck.
Yeah, because it's a finance podcast.
Yeah. So
Why don't we
Are
talk
we?
about the only financially relevant format?
So what do you? Yeah. So what do you? What is your take on the? You've seen the commander sets that are coming out alongside of New Capenna. Anything stand out to you?
Sorry. There's, if we include the commander set, there's 30, not 26.
All right, moving on. So, little known Patreon perk for those who go to patreon.com/BSB and give us, as Jason might say, as little as 20 or 25 cents an episode. Although, really, with inflation, you're really getting value at that price, I got to say. But please go check out our Patreon, along with the generous support from our sponsor, MTG Stocks. It is what makes it possible for us to make this podcast, support our editors, and make sure we put out a quality product to you every week. And with that said, we have a video sent to us by a patron. Let's all check it out together.
DJ Corbin Jason, Patreon here. Just $10 level only, but I got this PWE in the mail recently. As you can see, didn't exactly come in pristine condition, but point is, had it not been taped inside, this would have been lost cards. So something for the future. If you guys think this is good to ask for, good to share with the community. Thanks for everything you guys do.
So, DJ, you're someone who sends out cards regularly. What do you think?
I think it's neat. I don't think it's something I will personally use because I send out a lot of envelopes and it's just an extra step in packing hundreds and hundreds of envelopes.
Yeah, so for you, you'd be the idea is if you tape the card into the envelope, even if the UPS or whoever else shipping it gives you problems, it won't fall out. And as you saw in the video, that looked like an Arid Mesa in there to me. So that's a pretty nice one to not have fall out.
As long as the envelope itself is somewhat intact. I've seen many degrees of destruction in my day. And there are some that would not save it. Just sometimes the sorting machine just has a grudge and just mangles something beyond repair, and you get like an empty little plastic bag that just says "We're sorry" in like the South Park tone with like the oil guy, where it's just like "We're sorry, and it's like we try to delay, and like USPS is going through a lot. I don't begrudge them. They are being systematically destroyed. There's a whole thing on that. But like if you are somebody that ships cards somewhat regularly and you are sending out somewhat high dollar cards in plain white envelopes and you are worried about the USPS just mangling your package to some degree, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like if you're just adding a few extra couple seconds to give yourself a little bit more peace of mind and you're shipping out a few envelopes a day, seems fine. It's just not something I would do personally, sending out dozens and dozens of envelopes a day.
Yeah, and I think most people are more likely to be in the camp.
Yeah, exactly. It's neat.
Yeah.
It's something you'll have to find the right kind of tape. Maybe maybe regular Scotch tape wouldn't do it. Regular packing tape might. you need to find some kind of system and a workflow to make it work for you. But it's something I haven't seen before, which is like interesting. I mean, I've been doing this for over a decade now, and it's just something I haven't seen before.
Yeah, I mean, I think my take on this is someone who's much more likely to be in that first camp where I send out a box or two a month, maybe if I'm buy listing something like that, because if I'm not running an active store, I have no problem taking an extra several minutes to package my stuff up in the absolute proper way, tightest, safest way possible, and make sure that those cards arrive undamaged. And obviously sometimes there's nothing you can do, but yeah, if you're on the lower end of that scale in terms of the time you're putting into it, I think it's absolutely worth it to look at this trick and anything else to take care of your stuff. All right.
So yeah,
well,
thanks Aaron for the video.
Thank you for sending that in. If anyone else would like to, you can send us an email, brainstormbrew@gmail.com. Send us a video. You get it played. And why not? You want to say record an audio clip? Let's hear it.
It is not against the law to send us clips.
There you go. And
right?
Nor is it discouraged to send us emails. DJ, why don't you go ahead
Wait, do we get more clips if we say it is illegal?
Yes.
If we just lie and say that it's like they passed a law in Oklahoma, you can't send...
The year is 2022. Harsh government crackdowns have sent people who send each other videos scrambling into the underground to hide in the shadows and fight the government from the outside in. Only one man can get a video sent to him, and he's gonna watch it. He is the Watcher, starring
Steven Seagal.
Armand Asante. Probably. Remember Armand Asante? Remember he played Sylvester Stallone's brother in a movie? That didn't make much sense to me. He doesn't look like Sylvester Stallone at all. So that's cool. He's probably the Watcher, starring Armand Asante as the Watcher. Is there a Magic card called the Watcher? There is, isn't there?
There's a Legends of Runeterra.
Vega. There's Vega. There's Vega the Watcher, right?
Sure. $20 patron here. Please read this, Corbin. So, I mean, Corbin, go.
I'm chewing goldfish.
Corbin, the email, it's waiting. It's got your name in the title.
You could wait an hour to eat some goldfish.
I'm hungry, man.
It's from James. James is desperately waiting right now to hear his email read that they sent on March 23rd.
All right, here we go. We have an email here from James Downey, sent to brainstormbrew@gmail.com. Says $20 patron here. Please read this, Corbin. Well, if you are a $20 patron, I am obligated to read your email. Let's see what it says. Dear Corbin, I'm just writing to follow up about me adding you Canadian Highlander. As you can see, I'm a $20 patron, have been for a while. I enjoy your podcast very much. To the point I'll sometimes re-listen a couple times a week. Often I'm listening at work, so I'm fortunate to have one of those jobs where you can have a podcast going in one ear. With the cast reposted for the mass public on Friday, it reminded me to add you since I was on break at the time. Just wanted to clear that up and remind you that you're not necessarily the Matlock you think you are. And as always, a big thank you to yourself, Jason and DJ, for the great work, but specifically you for being a good sport. Stay safe, and cheers, James Downey. Well, James, that was an incredibly nice email, actually. Thank you.
What is a Matlock?
What?
What is a Matlock?
Oh, okay. I was going to bring that up. For instance, I would have to say, James, I do not fancy myself a Matlock. I fancy myself more of like a...
Corbin doesn't know if Matlock is a defense lawyer or a prosecutor or an investigator.
I wasn't sure if it was the Daredevil thing.
No, I'm not.
That's
a Matt
Murdoch.
That's a Matt Murdock.
See, I didn't know. Like
very close. I'm more of a Batman. Like the world's greatest detective. Not like Matlock, who's just like a boomer detective, right? Like I'm more of a Robert Pattinson.
From when Robert Pattinson played a detective?
Yeah.
I don't think Batman counts as a detective.
He's the world's greatest detective.
Thank you.
Okay.
Who's the white Portuguese? I don't know, Master Wayne. Why don't you type white Portuguese into Google? No time. I'm going to break into his house and steal his files.
Yeah, DJ, that is actually the thing. Is Batman is supposed to be the world's greatest detective. It's a line in the new movie. I don't know. Anyways, James, thank you very much. That was kind. As far as the Canadian Highlander stuff goes, that was less kind. But you said I was good at sports, and you're definitely right about that. So I appreciate this email.
You're good at competitive sprinting. Contact sprinting.
Contact sprinting. It's a relay race. You just thought the pole was the next.
Well, speaking of the Patreon, which again, patreon.com/BSB, there's a new perk to talk about. DJ, do you want to share with people what they can expect if they were to get access to our spreadsheets?
I talked about it recently, but yeah, so Emily and I have been working on a spreadsheet calculator that basically just calculates your fees for you on all the various platforms where you can sell cards. I just say all, but we do not have it set up for MKM because we're Americans. So if you sell on TCG Player or eBay or even Channel Fireball, we have a spreadsheet set up that you can just input whatever you're selling your card for, and it will spit out the amount of fees that you will be charged and calculate your shipping costs. It assumes that you're shipping with tracking above $50 or not tracked below that. And it's also got a bunch of reference points on there. And I also just wrote up like a big little tutorial thing on selling those platforms. So if you're selling on TCG, eBay, or CFB, you have a little guide written by me as to some of my tips and tricks for selling on those. So the $10 Patreon level is the where to get that. It's just another perk. I just tacked it on there in addition to the other perks that exist.
I have to say, of all the perks that we have, this is one of the most sort of pragmatically useful ones. This was super useful to me. I know that. So DJ, thanks for doing that. And you, of course, can access that at patreon.com/BSB. All right. Well, before we get out of here this week, we want to give you what you should have your eyes on coming up. And that's why it's time for Pick of the Week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
If you remember last week, we talked about Maze's End, and Maze's End spiked quite hard.
It did. I was surprised at the velocity of that one.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the norm in Pioneer for the next year or so. I think we're just going to... I hope anyway, and I think that it's going to feel like those first couple years of Modern, where every 2 months you just had something new blowing up out of nowhere and turning a bulk rare into a $10 card. We had years of that in Modern, and I hope we get some of that here in Pioneer. With that said, let's see what else we got our eyes on. DJ, what are you looking at this week for Pick of the Week?
Sure. So this is one I was checking out at MTG Stocks. It is a card that has floated in the, I guess, like 3 to 5 range. It used to be a bulk rare, jumped up to 5 or 6, went back down. Dark Petition is creeping up on MTG Stocks over the past few weeks. It was 3-ish, and now it's 4-ish, 5-ish. But the big indicator here is if you're a TCG Player direct seller like I am, you often list a card and you match the direct low when you're pricing, and then you see a number that's double digits on Dark Petition, and you're like, wait, the direct low is 11. That's very interesting, because I thought this would be a 5 or a 6. And it turns out people have been buying $11 Dark Petitions on TCG Player Direct. And if people are willing to pay $11 right now, I certainly think they'll be willing to pay $11 in the future from non-direct stores. So this is one where you can get in $3 or $4. I don't think it's like an insane arbitrage thing where you can like buy them for $5 and then get them and then sell them on direct. It's just something where if you have them, I would list them conservatively and wait for the price to hit that number naturally. Or maybe if you can find like a brick of them somewhere for cheap, then you get in at 3 or 4. But it's one that I do think will hit double digits if it, again, all of these cards that we name nowadays have an asterisk if it doesn't get reprinted in Jumpstart 2, Commander Legends 2.
Right.
The the Commander Legends Battle of Baldur's Gate or whatever. So like all of these picks have that sort of safety
How do you
mechanism.
list a card for sale conservatively? Do you go to the TCG Player website and then quit the platform because you find out prices can be non-binary? You're not going to give me anything on that one? That's very
I don't
good.
get it. Who are we talking about?
He said conservatively. That's how conservatives list cards.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know. Sorry.
It was fine. I didn't have like a witty response, but it was. I knew what you were going. Like I heard you say, if you list cards conservatively, smirk, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna say to this, but I'm just gonna let it.
Yeah, I thought you were dunking on it.
I know for fucking sure I'm not gonna laugh though.
I smiled.
He smiled, man. I didn't get it.
Corbin didn't get it.
All right, my pick of the week is a bit more recent one here, but Brazen Borrower is $10. The Mythic from Throne of Eldraine. There's also a Secret Lair series with different art that's about closer to 20. There's a list version of the card. There's a showcase version of the card.
There's a promo pack version.
There's a promo pack version and a pre-release version while we're at it. But all of these cards are expensive. In fact, the regular version at $10 is the cheapest, and this card is extremely good in most formats, but particularly in Pioneer, where it's going to find its way into a lot of different decks because it's just always the perfect. I got 1 to 2 slots left in my deck. Brazen Borrower is never a bad card. And as a Mythic, even with all those sort of funky printings, Throne of Eldraine was 3 years ago. It's going to be 4 years ago by the time we start playing Pioneer. Yeah, I think Brazen Borrower's got a lot of room to climb.
Maybe I should get a job for ESPN because there's always some intern in the booth that's got insane stats. I'm getting word tonight that both the Corbin's Breaking Bulk and Pick of the Week were 3/1 creatures. That's weird, right? I don't know why I noticed that.
That is
Yeah.
interesting.
I did a couple of rails of Halo, and now I can see prices in my head like the Matrix code.
Hashtag not a drug.
Hashtag not a joke. All right. Jason, what do you got?
Dragon Lair Spider.
Sure.
I
What's
like that card.
What set is that from? I don't know the
Conspiracy.
It's from Conspiracy, but it was originally in Plane Chase 2012.
Oh, that's right. That was the first
that
printing.
one. Okay, no, I do know that card then from the.
So
from
it
the
has
Plane Chase, yeah.
it has 2 printings and 2 half printings. I don't consider Commander's Arsenal or
Yeah, so it's
Two half printings to make a whole printing.
no, never mind. It's Conspiracy. Take the Crown Foil as the 4th printing, so there's 2.5 printings. Dragon Lair Spider is like $1, but it makes a lot of creature tokens. And if you're building a Jetmir deck, you probably want a spider that farts out a lot of tokens.
Yeah.
It costs 6 mana, but it's a 5/6 reach, so it's like smacking all those stupid angels out of the sky. And whenever they cast a spell, you create a 1/1 green insect token, which is just a very good rate. I'm playing a spider that gives you a 1/2 token when they play an instant. This is way better than that.
Yeah,
Played
this
this
card
in
is
Fantasy,
good.
I think.
Yeah, this was one of those cards that when before it had, well, I guess before the Conspiracy printing, when it was originally in Plane Chase, it was one of those cards that was like $5, $3 to $5 just out of Plane Chase, and it was only printed there. It's just kind of a weird little card in that sense. Conspiracy, of course, it makes perfect sense then, and I'm with you. This card's powerful for token making decks, and there's going to be a lot of those. All right. Well, I think that pretty much does it for us this week. We want to thank all of you for listening. We want to thank our sponsor over at mtgstocks.com. Remember, you can send your emails, your video clips, your audio recordings, your beers to Jason.
You can also send your
anything
money to
that's up the
MTG
cast.
Stocks and send it for premium.
There you go. Check out Premium if you want to follow all the latest, the best trends and get personalized alerts and anything else you could want to follow up on the latest and breaking Magic Finance news. And there's going to be plenty of that coming up with organized player tokens. So thank you for listening, everybody, to Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week.